Because the nuclear reactor worked with nuclear fission, and this makes atomic nucleus split and they can be stopped. So when the reactor started to work, the chemists didn't knew the plant was flawed, so it caused the reactor to explode, and even though the explosion happened back in 1986, the reactor still releases energy nowadays. Because of the splitting of uranium into krypton and barium, and the release of neutrons it causes, makes the energy that is released among these dangerous because of the non-stop repetition of the process, generating more and more energy attraction between the atoms every time. Because of the chain reaction it has, the atom's exponential growth cannot be negative. It will always move forward. Also, since the neutrons released in fission produce additional fissions, which repeats constantly, each neutron releases two or more neutrons, then the number of fissions doubles in each generation, creating an exponential growth. When the fission between the atoms is almost the same, but it can't be cleaned out completely because of the energy it was released. Part of it will always remain in the atmosphere. An exponential function is defined by the dictionary as function of x equals ax, where x is a variable and a is a constant called the base of the function. This equation has a domain of negative infinite to positive infinite, a range of 0 to positive infinite, and a reference point of 1 and 3, 1 being the value of x and 3 the value of y in the graph.
In early mornings of April 26, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine exploded, creating what was described as the worst nuclear disaster the world has ever seen. The Chernobyl nuclear accident is known as the worst and most serious accident in nuclear history. The disaster released at least 100 times more radiation than the atomic bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Nuclear rain from the disaster fell as far away as Ireland. The environmental group Greenpeace places the eventual death toll of 93,000 cancer deaths worldwide. More than 5 million people live in areas that are considered to be contaminated with the radioactive material from the accident. Many doctors through Eastern Europe and Soviet Union advise pregnant women to undergo abortions to avoid bearing children with birth defects in spite of the fact that radiation levels of women were exposed to was too low to cause problems. 200 tons of radioactive material are still inside the reactor. Officials say that it could take up to 100 years before the station is completely decomposed. The world's accelerating population growth is a major concern in terms of how our planet can feed and provide fuel to the current 7.2 billion plus people who currently live in our world. In a finance world, a saving account with an annual interest rate of R grows exponentially because the amount of money in the account increases annually by the proportion R. Using nuclear energy is a very dangerous. You put at risk everyone of dying since it is a lot of radiation. No energy source can claim to be 100% clean or 100% safe. Each has advantages and disadvantages. Nuclear has a very low risk for a very high benefit. Yes, it is located at the east coast of Gulf of Mexico, in Alto Lucero, Veracruz, Mexico. It is safe as long as the people who work there know what they are doing and respect the rules so that they can prevent accidents. It could have been prevented if people who worked there respected the rules. Also, if they wouldn't turn the safety mode off, it could have been different. And radiation spread in a cloud almost all through Europe. And we don't think the radiation could reach Mexico. It is very far away, it only spread through Europe. It affects people with a high risk of cancer, especially thyroid cancer, mutation in animals, and even humans. It affects forests like the red forest. It is very sad for us to think about the consequences of the nuclear disaster since it does not only affect the environment, it affects us. It also increased global warming. Our proposal to be more careful with the nuclear power plants since they are highly dangerous and to prevent future catastrophes.